Ben, it was a great trip down to Elizabeth and a really good win. How did you see the game?
Was Josh. It was going to be a challenge going down there. They were in some really good form. Whilst I didn't perform probably to the level they would have liked before the bye, they were sitting third on the ladder. So we knew it was going to be a tough game and we need to get a lot of the things that we wanted to control right. And for the most part of the game, we did that.
Yeah. Have been really good defensively throughout 2024. How good was it to see it firing down the other end in the forward line and throughout the midfield as well? That third quarter was sensational. Must be nice to see that the forwards had a really good day as well.
Yeah, and it wasn't just the forwards. They cashed in on our really good contest and defensive work, which is something we pride our game on. And throughout the course of the year, we've had multiple opportunities forward of the ball, but we just haven't been able to capitalise through inaccurate kicking and some other areas of our game. But throughout that third quarter, off the back of really good contest and defence, then our forwards were able to get some good separation, and they really did finish off the work. And our midfield group were able to hit the scoreboard as well there.
Yeah. That third term, Ben, as a coach, and I guess the player as well, you work so hard during pre-season and throughout the season. It must be nice to see the reward come in a quarter of footy like that.
Yeah, it was a super effort by the players. At halftime, Twig put a little bit on the players. We thought our effort and intensity dropped off a little bit in the second quarter, and we had a bit of an advantage there, and we let that slip a little bit. So we need to get back to what works for us and what we pride our game on. And throughout the start of the third quarter, the players did that, and they were pretty unrelenting really throughout the course of that quarter. And as mentioned, I think we limited them to 2 inside 50s for the quarter. We were able to keep the ball in our forward half for pretty much 90-95% of the quarter, which was an outstanding effort.
Yeah, I think it was 18 inside 50s to 2 in that third quarter. The mids were sensational. It was just absolutely streaming out of there, wasn't it?
It was. Boydie was able to get his hands on the ball first off, and then our mids really did set up really well around the ball, especially at centre bounce. Their craft was really good, and got their timing right, and were able to get the ball forward. And then once we got the ball forward, we were just able to close the ground down and keep it in our forward 50 for long periods.
Yeah, so in that second quarter, had the game right where you sort of wanted it, and then was it a bit of lack of concentration, or they ramped it up a bit, but they kind of got back into it? How did you review the first half?
Yeah, they lifted their work rate and intensity, and we dropped off a little bit. We probably just sat off a fraction in terms of our defensive structure, and that's what got Centrals back into the game, and we addressed a few of those things at halftime, and then, as you can see, the third quarter, we were able to get the rewards off the back of that.
Yeah, for sure. You're 82 points up at three-quarter time, and they sort of kicked 5 goals to nil in the last quarter. Do you read anything into that, or just the game was done at three-quarter time, or how did you review the last?
Oh, look, there's certain aspects that we would have liked to have done better, but the players did a mountain of work throughout the first 3 quarters, and in particular that third quarter. Centrals threw a few different things in there with personnel and structure and strategy, and like I just said, we would have liked to have really finished off the game really well, but the guys are outstanding for the first 3 quarters. There's no questioning that, and we'll review quarter 2 as hard as any, because that's where we let Centrals back into the game, more so than the fourth quarter. And whilst it'll be great to finish off, as I said, coming off the bye, you don't know how the game's going to be played out, but our first 3 quarters were really rewarding for our players.
Yeah, for sure. And some of that was outstanding, particularly in that third quarter, was the captain, Jacob Kenley. He really led from the front in his return game.
Yeah, he did. Spent the majority of time in the first quarter through the mid group, and just with his, I suppose, lack of conditioning over the past few weeks being out, played him a little bit more forward after that, and some of his forward craft was outstanding, and he was able to hit the scoreboard, and it was not only hitting the scoreboard, some of his one-on-one efforts to bring the ball to ground and keep the ball in our forward 50 was outstanding, and that's what we'll want to see our players doing, and he led from the front magnificently there.
Yeah, another leader in defence was Pierce Seymour. He had 23 disposals and 10 marks. You probably can't ask much more from someone playing in a key position down back.
Yeah, Pierce has been outstanding the last few weeks. Probably to his own standards, didn't quite start the year as he would have liked, but his last 4 or 5 weeks have been really, really exceptional. Not only his ability to intercept mark, but just the way he structures our defensive group, coordinates what we want behind the ball, and he was able to sort of get the rewards for some really good defensive efforts up the ground, and also how we were set up behind the ball as well.
Yeah, you boys were coming off a bye and then having to go to play Central District in Elizabeth on a very hot day on a big ground. You must have been really happy with how the boys prepared and set themselves up for, and to be 12 goals up at 3/4 time. Must have been really proud of how they went about it.
Yeah, and as you say, that comes back to a lot of the work they've done over the previous 6 to 9 months. The conditioning team have done an amazing job with them throughout the course of the summer months, and also conditioning them throughout the start of the season and week to week. Boys have got a great base behind them, and they were able to use that conditioning level that they've got in them to be able to run out the game up until 3/4 time, I suppose, really, really well. And I think that's what we're really pleased with at the moment, just our continual levels from start to finish, that we're able to keep running as hard as we possibly can. And I suppose, barring that last quarter, you could show so many different edits in the third quarter where we used that running ability to be able to break the game open.
Yeah, and Eagles followed by Sturt. The big games keep coming.
They do. And realistically, every game in this competition is a hard one. There's no easy games. Anyone can beat anyone on their given day. So no matter what ladder position there are, we've got to respect every opposition. But in particular, the next 2 games are really tough. The Eagles, up until the last 2 games, been going really well. Brought in some new players, new coach, obviously, with a little bit of a different game style. They like to move the ball pretty quickly, and we've got to make sure that we defend as well as we have all year.